The Curse of Ravenwood Lake.
There are some places, no matter how beautiful they appear, you feel you shouldn't stay there. Ravenwood Lake was one of those places, a forgotten campground on the shore of a lake shrouded in fog in northern Michigan. Years ago, it was a popular vacation spot, but one day, campers started disappearing. No body was found, nor any trace. As the police files gathered dust, the locals declared the place cursed. No one even wanted to mention the name of that lake. But some people want to prove that the stories are not true. Five college friends had been planning a camping trip together for a long time. Ethan was the level-headed leader of the group. Lena was curious but sensible. Chris was funny but brave. Maya was a little timid but loved excitement. And of course, the one who started it all, Jake. Jake had read the forums in the newspaper about the Ravenwood disappearances. He didn't believe in legends. He just wanted an adventure. We're going camping for the weekend. There's no legend, just an abandoned place. Everyone was laughing as they drove along, but Ethan noticed. As they approached the forest, the radio began to crackle. The air suddenly turned cold, and even the wind seemed to have fallen silent. When night fell, a fire was lit. The lake glowed in the moonlight as if it were alive. Chris played his guitar. Lena opened the wine. Laughter, conversation, everything was normal. Until 1:47 a.m., a sound came. Deep, a scream between human and animal. Short and sharp, as if someone's throat was being slit. Everyone fell silent. Jake grabbed the flashlight. "It must be a deer," he said, but his voice was trembling. Ethan shook his head from side to side. That sound, it came from someone. At that moment, a shadow moved at the edge of the lake. The lantern light pierced the darkness. But then the light went out. A fluttering sound was heard. Jake's bag fell to the ground. But Jake was gone. When morning came, the sky was gray. No one spoke. Lena rummaged through Jake's bag. Inside was a camera, and a note. "There's a cabin in the heart of the forest. You'll find the answers there." Chris jumped up immediately. "We're going. Maybe Jake is there." Ethan didn't want to, but everyone insisted, so they set off. As they went deeper into the forest, the atmosphere changed. There was no sound of birds. Even when they breathed, it was as if the trees were listening. When they arrived at the cabin, the door was rusty. There were chain marks on the walls, and that smell coming from inside, metal, blood. They found Jake's camera, the last recording, footage shot in the darkness of night, a silhouette in the forest. It's approaching, a rusty axe in its hand. Its face is hidden. Only the sound of breathing and Jake's scream. The recording ends there. As Lena stepped back, the door closed on its own. The sound of the lock echoed. They were trapped inside. They ran to the window and looked outside. A shadow stood at the edge of the forest, a tall, hunchbacked man. On his face, a mask made of leather. Chris grabbed the axe and smashed the window. They ran into the forest, but that man ... he was very fast. His breath was right behind their footsteps. Maya looked back as she ran. The killer was holding Jake's necklace in his hand. At that moment, Maya's scream filled the forest, and her voice was never heard again. Only 3 people remained: Ethan, Lena, and Chris. Ethan was out of breath. The lake, let's go to the open area. When the fog rolled in, the lake was no longer visible, but he ... emerged from the fog, with his leather mask, axe in hand. "No one can find you here," he said in a deep, muffled voice. Chris lunged, but fell to the ground in one blow. The sound of the axe echoed, then silence. Lena grabbed the axe that had fallen into the mud. With Ethan's scream, she stabbed the killer. The man staggered, his mask fell off. Beneath it, a burned face, melted skin, an empty eye socket. "Who are you?" Ethan asked. The man whispered, "I am the guardian of this place. They burned me alive. Now it's your turn." Ethan attacked with all his strength, pushing the man into the lake. The man screamed in pain as he hit the water. The axe remained on the muddy shore. But the killer didn't thrash about on the water's surface. Instead, the lake's surface suddenly darkened. Black, oily waves enveloped the killer. As the man's scream began to drown out, his voice changed. Harold's muffled whisper mingled with other, deeper, wetter voices, as if thousands of whispers were rising from the depths of the lake. "We'll be back. All of us belong here." Ethan and Lena looked back in horror. The killer's body disappeared beneath the water in seconds, as if pulled by an invisible hand. The lake was like a calm mirror, beginning to glisten again in the moonlight. They didn't even look back. They left the camera, the bags, everything behind. For them, staying there even a moment longer meant staying there forever. They ran. They were muddy, bloodied, and gasping for breath. After hours of running, the density of the forest gradually thinned. As the first rays of sunlight began to filter through the canopy, they finally reached the highway. They walked, supporting each other. But as they moved away from the forest, whispers followed them. It wasn't the wind or the rustling of leaves. Only their own names were being whispered. Lena whispered, "Nothing is over. He won't let us go." Ethan couldn't respond. He looked back at the dark forest. Now they knew. Ravenwood Lake wasn't just Harold Green's grave. That lake held everyone who had disappeared, including those who had burned him. And now it knew them too. And after that day, Ethan and Lena survived, but they never went camping again, and that lake, Ravenwood Lake, never woke from its slumber. It just waited patiently for its next visitor.
Time passes, the forest grows, paths fade, but the curse remains the same. For Ravenwood's waters are neither filled by rain nor dried by sun. They are nourished only by fear.